All right, Jesse on Fire, Chapter 2 of UFC 287 and what it looked like to me from the front row, son. Look at that. That's me. That's where I was at UFC 287. It was an absolutely unbelievable experience. In this video, I want to talk about Jorge Masvidal, though. I want to talk about the Masvidal, the fight itself. Okay, I'm going to itemize this because there's a lot of things I want to talk about. I want to talk about the fight itself. I want to talk about Gilbert Burns accusing George of cheating with Greece. I want to talk about his retirement and how I thought it was a perfectly iconic, incredible, best case scenario for a guy's retirement, especially his. And then I'm going to talk about why I think it's actually not necessarily going to stick. I think that there is a medium to high probability that he comes back only in very specific circumstances. I'll tell you what those are. I'll tell you that first, actually. And then I want to talk about one other thing from the Izzy fight that I forgot to talk about in my last video. I'm going to start with those two, actually. We'll start with the Masvidal, who I think he'll come back and fight. And then I want to talk about this thing from the Izzy fight where he taunted Alex Pereira's kid. Because I saw that last night and I saw it again this morning. And I had one feeling about it, and then I thought a lot more about it, and I have a very different feeling about it, and I just want to talk about that a little bit because I didn't talk about it on the other video, and it's already up. So, if you don't mind subscribing to the channel, I will be eternally grateful. There's nothing that makes me happier in the entire world than just watching, like going and looking and being like, okay, cool. Like my subscriber base is going up, Now that generally, just bottom line, I love doing this channel. I work really hard. If you would subscribe to the channel, if you watch my stuff, that would be greatly appreciated. All right, so let's start with the Izzy thing really quick, and then we'll talk about Jorge Masvidal, right? Oh, wait, no, we did that in the reverse. Let me talk about who I think Masvidal might come back and fight. Then we'll talk about the Izzy thing. So basically, he says he's done because he's like, I don't feel the same in there. I'm not keeping up with these guys as well as I used to. Now, I want to say one thing about that really quick, okay? Now, I'm sure I'm not the only person who's thinking that George's last three opponents were the toughest three opponents that he's fought, right? It's like when you look at the run that he went on, right? He came back, he fought Darren Till. Darren Till has been struggling since then, right? Like, so you can actually just look at that. That was the beginning of the end for Darren Till. Then he jump knee knocks out Ben Askren. Amazing. Then he fights Nate Diaz. Okay. Those are the three that got him on the trajectory to superstardom. I mean, that mixed with the fact that he is incredibly, incredibly charismatic, super likable, very exciting fighter. I love Jorge Masvidal. I want to make that perfectly clear. And as a matter of fact, I want to show you guys this really quick in case I haven't showed you on this video. Look at this. Oh. Yep. He let me fist bump him right after he retired. And I don't ever fan out on people like that. But I really did genuinely just want to tell him he did an amazing job and congratulations on a great career. But yeah, I love Masvidal, man. I really do. But so here's who I think he might come back to, right? It's because, like I said, like if you really, really think about it, there's a big step up from Nate Diaz to Kamaru Usman. There's a big step up from Ben Askren to Kamaru Usman. There's a big step up from Darren Till to Colby Covington. And Gilbert Burns is just as good as those guys as far as I'm concerned. So I'm not sure if George has lost a step or not, dude. I really am not. I just think that he ended up fighting the three best guys, And I mean, not everybody can be good enough to win the title. And I don't mean that he's not. I'm just saying, like, I'm just playing devil's advocate in terms of where George is at, like physically and mentally. I can't speak for the man about how he feels. He says he doesn't feel as well in there, but I have always been a proponent that if a guy runs into someone who's better than them, that they will tell themselves that they are slower than before, because guys who make it as far as George has, they can't in their mind ever accept that there is a guy who's just a better fighter than them, Like that's just not a thing. It doesn't go with the personality type, Like I see guys who are literally going against like the greatest of all time, and you ask them about the fight, and they'll be like, I just couldn't get it going that night. And you're like, I mean, yeah, but like you're also up against the best fighter in the world, like unarguable, the best fighter in the world. It's possible you couldn't get it going because he's that good. And that's just that's a pill that doesn't go down for professional fighters. And so I do think it's possible that George is is still performing at a high level, really high level, and is just, is taking the losses as an indicator that he can't fight anymore. But also, maybe his career goals are just to win the title, and if he's not going to be able to win the title, he doesn't want to do it. And I totally understand that, and I absolutely understand having your base setting as like, if I'm not fighting for the title, I'm not going to be one of these guys that hangs around. And that is a very good base setting to have in the event that you are 99% of fighters. George is not one of those guys, okay? If Masvidal and Conor, if let's say Conor loses to Chandler, right? Loses the decision to Chandler. If Dana offers Masvidal a Conor fight, Conor and Masvidal, they both need a win. One of their stars is coming out with a win. It'll be a stand-up war. You're telling me that Masvidal's not taking that fight? I mean, are you serious? He's not going to take that fight? A stand-up war with Conor McGregor as his swan song? He's going to make $7 million or something like that? And the idea, people are like, he doesn't need the money, man. Dude, you always need the money, okay? You always need the money. There's no amount of money in the bank that George could theoretically have where $7 to $10 million more, and that might even be on the low side, would not be an enormous difference in his life, Even if he's got 15 in the bank, another 10, come on, dude. That's a no-brainer. So I think there is a high probability that Dana offers him one more blockbuster fight, because why not? Why wouldn't you if you're the UFC? You know what I mean? But yeah, so that's that. All right, now listen, this is a George Masvidal video, and I'm going to talk about the fight from last night. I'm going to show you guys some videos from that, and we'll go from there. But because I got some incredible pictures of that fight too that I'm going to show you. But I really want to make sure that I talk about this style bender thing because it's important to me. So I'm sure most of you guys know about the thing where when Izzy got knocked out by Alex Pereira's son went into the ring and pretended to be Izzy, and behind his back, he fell on the ground and pretended to be knocked out, right? The kid's 8 years old or something. And so when Izzy KO'd Alex last night, he went over, he found the kid, he pointed at him, and then he went and did the limp dead body thing, stiff. He did the stiff dead body thing to the kid. And when I saw that, I thought that was the coldest, most gangster shit I've ever seen in my entire life. I mean, I'm serious. I was like, damn, son. That is ice cold in the best possible way. That shit's so fucking gangster right there. And I woke up this morning and I thought the same thing. And then someone wrote me a message and they were like, Izzy's a scumbag for doing that, did that to the guy's kid and yada, yada. And believe me, my opinion on it had already been that it was gangster as fucking awesome. And then I thought about it and I was just going to write back to him dude, you're crazy. But I actually sat there and thought about it for a second. And I was like, okay, well, here's the thing. Izzy doesn't have kids, so he gets a pass. And then I really thought, and Izzy does completely get a pass. I'm not throwing rocks at Izzy. But what I realized is he only gets a pass because he doesn't have kids. If he did have kids and he did that, I would have a problem with that, dude. I would have a problem with that. If he had kids and thus should have known better, then yeah, I would be a problem. I'm not going to be fuck you, Izzy. Izzy's one of my favorite guys ever. But the thing is, if you don't have kids, you don't understand, you just don't understand. If you don't have kids, you don't understand. And having kids, I really thought about, because I have two personalities, at least two. And one of them is warrior fucking combat thing, or whatever, whatever part of me chooses to go train jujitsu 6 days a week for no reason, or the person who used to love, I used to kickbox all the time, love fighting, whatever that person is, and just hyper competitive in everything that I do. And then there's this other thing where I'm a father to children and girls specifically, and when I'm watching UFC, it's pretty obvious which personality I'm living in, right? And to that competitive, combat style personality, dude, being look at what I did to your daddy, you little fuck. After that kid did it to him, You know, like visualizing that kid doing that to you after you were unconscious, and then just rolling up and be like, where's that fucking kid? And you're like, hey, you. Hopefully your daddy wakes up. It's gangster as fuck. But then I thought about it from the other angle, and I was like, dude, the kid, because like then you have like, you wouldn't understand this stuff if you don't have kids, but it's like, all right, so why do kids do things, right? Like, why does an 8-year-old boy do anything in that situation? Okay, especially his dad is a fucking kickboxing world champion. Okay, why does he do a thing like that? He does it because his dad is God to him. Like, Alex Pereira is God to that kid, especially when he was 8. And so he had seen Alex Pereira talk shit to Izzy, and he's watching and he's paying attention. He did that stiff body thing, not because he wanted to make fun of Izzy. He wanted to impress his dad. Okay? That's why he did it. 100%. 100%. He's seen his dad do shit like that, which is totally okay for any fighter to do whatever the fuck they want. But he did that to impress his dad. He absolutely did not do it to humiliate Izzy. And so when you think about it through that lens, because that is why he did it, and then you re-examine, like, the kid has just watched his dad get and you guys, I showed you guys the video from the other one, right? I'll show it to you again just so that we're on the same page of you know, what this looked like. You know, like, give me a second here and I'll pull this up of Alex, you know, in the shadow realm. But check this out, dude. All right, let me pull this. And this is just like for reference of like what the kid was, you know, what the kid was looking at this point, right? So, you know, this is Alex. This is what the kid is looking at this time, right? Like, Alex is in La La Land, right? I'm not going to make you watch this whole thing because it's in. If you haven't seen this, you should definitely 100% go watch the other video that I posted earlier about, you know, Izzy, brutal knockout, whatever. Because that goes on for a long time. And Alex Pereira has no idea where he is. And the kid has never seen his dad get knocked out. He's never seen his dad get hurt like that. And he's shitting his pants. He's fucking terrified. It's his dad, the God that he wanted to impress, is starched unconscious, for real unconscious. Like, sometimes, like, when kids, if kid sees their dad, if they got like a tough dad, you know, like a real like tough dad, and a kid sees their dad cry for the first time, it fucking breaks their brain. Like, it breaks their brain. Because kids see their dad, if it's that, you know, the kind of dad that Alex Pereira is, and I'm sure most of you guys are also, they see us as strong. Like, not like strong, like, you know, oh, impressive, strong, like unbreak, like, we don't break, we don't cry, and it'll just break their brain. So to see his dad like that, he must have been fucking terrified, dude. Like, legit terrified. Super upset, super traumatic. And Izzy fucking went over to him, pointed at him, and then did a fucking stiff body to get back at an 8-year-old, dude. I mean, that's one of those things that, like, I'm sorry. Once I've thought about it from both angles, there's no way that I can still think it's awesome that he did that at all. I completely understand why he did. Because my instinct was, fuck, yeah, little shit. Oh, who's unconscious now? But think it through like a grown-up that has kids, and all of a sudden it's like, Jesus, bro. Come on, dude. Kids, come on. But anyway, I wanted to talk about that. So, tangent, but nonetheless, an important one. And I bet you guys who have kids will agree with me. So anyway, so with Masvidal, though, I wanted to talk about this. So first of all, I thought he looked really good. I thought he won the first round. I have no idea how Burns got 30-27. I thought Burns absolutely won the fight. And I'm a huge Burns fan too, just for the record. Like, I'm a huge Jorge fan. I'm a huge Burns fan. But Jorge was in Miami, and with the entrance and the energy of the crowd, it's like when you get all the energy moving in one direction. Now, I would never root against George anyway, but I could say also, if you were on the fence and you were in that building, dude, you're rooting for George. There's just no two ways about it, dude. There's no two ways about it. You get all the energy in one direction, and it's like, you know, it just feels good, dude, to have everybody cheering for the same thing. Like, I know, and I genuinely say this in the least possible divisive way, because I'm really not trying to get into any kind of like political conversation about this. But I will say this, that like Trump was there last night, and I'm not like a huge like, you know, let's go Trump guy or whatever. If it sounds like I am, that just you're lumping me into things based on opinions that you just assume means that I'm that, because I'm not, right? I just like to take each issue independently. But I will say this, that Trump was there last night, and the place went crazy, and everyone started chanting USA, the whole place. And it was like, it felt good, dude. It felt really good, where it was like this feeling that I haven't felt in a long time, where it was like, dude, it's like, there's a big group of people who genuinely really care about the country. It wasn't even about, like, it's like, and when everybody's on the same team, because there was, believe me, a big group of guys in our section that were certainly not Trump people at all, you know, like at all. But when the whole place is like, USA, you could just see them like soften up, man, where it was kind of like, dude, he's an actual person. It doesn't mean that you have to like him. It doesn't mean you can still hate him. It doesn't matter. My point is just that, like, when you get everybody's energy in the same direction, it feels good. That's my only point, you know? And I will bet you, never mind. But anyway, that's a tangent that I should probably edit out, but I'm not going to, because, like I said, I'm not endorsing any candidate. I'm just saying, if we're all on the same team, it fucking feels good. That's my only point. But like, but with Jorge, everybody's on Jorge's team last night, you know. But I did think he won the first round, and then obviously Gilbert won the fight. But I really thought that he won the first round because Gilbert shot so fast in the second round. The way I interpreted that was Gilbert thinks he lost the first round and he needs to make 100% sure he wins the second round, right? But Gilbert said that he thought that George was greased, and I have no way of validating that or whatever. But the way Gilbert described it is, take a shower, lotion. I mean, Gilbert's going to know what a greased opponent is, dude. He's a jiu-jitsu world champion, you know? But nonetheless, I mean, it just doesn't really matter because Gilbert won anyway. But, like, I do think that this was the best possible outcome for for Jorge if he wasn't going to win. Like, if he won, obviously that's amazing. But, like, to lose in a really in a competitive fight like that to a guy as good as Gilbert is not that ending that George was afraid of like, you know, he slipped down to like, kind of shitty opponents and he's losing and it's like, man, I guess it's time to hang it up. Like, that's not what this is. Gilbert is as good as it gets, dude. He's as good as it gets. And it was a competitive fight, dude. I mean, obviously Gilbert won for sure. But George didn't get fucked up or anything. And I thought George won the first round. So, you know, to go out like that in Miami after a really, like a strong, like a strong performance against a guy like that, and then to get to retire in Miami, and the way that he delivered that speech was really like solid. It was like he wasn't like crying, whatever. It was like he was sure of himself that this was the right thing. And then he fist bumped Jesse on fire, which obviously means that it's in stone now, dude. Like, because we're never going to be able to duplicate that awesomeness again. I'm just kidding. But check this out, dude. Let me show you guys some of these pictures, like from our seats, dude. Oops, that's the wrong one. That's the wrong one. Boom. Look at this from the fight. That's from our seats. That is my view of the fight last night. How insane is that? It's so crazy. I literally did not look at the screen at all last night. Just like it was just right in front of me. It's so crazy. And then this is a good one when Gilbert was first coming in. And then this one, look at this, dude. This is Masvidal. I mean, like, that's from our seat also before they started. Oh, I can't show this one, dude. This was his entrance, but I actually got a copyright. I already did this video and uploaded it, and they copywrote it. They're like, no, you can still just put it up. It's just, all monetization will go to the person who owns the Scarface song. I'm like, fuck you. It's not like it's that much money, but like, I'll just reshoot it. You know what I mean? Anyway, so that's what I got. I think if Conor loses, Masvidal and Conor do a fight. I don't see why the fuck not. And yeah, that would be a really, really fun build-up and a really, really fun fight. And that would be an incredible one to go out on, you know. And maybe Nate Diaz. I don't know. That's what I got. Please subscribe to the channel if you guys have not yet. And I love you guys. Peace.